Travelers brace for uncertainty. Air Canada says it'll begin canceling flights tomorrow as the union representing tens of thousands of flight attendants issues a strike notice. This is a live shot from inside the airport this hour.
The Ford government unveils $1 billion in Trump tariff relief meant to protect workers in the steel, aluminum, and auto industries. Our conversation with the finance minister is coming up.
And sushi corn dogs, deep-fried watermelon, and lobster ice cream. The CNE is back for another year, and so is all the outrageous food. We're taking you to the X.
This is Live at 5. Good evening. I'm Lindsay Biscaya.
And I'm Lena Latafat. Thanks so much for joining us and welcome to Live at 5. Air Canada is preparing to begin canceling some flights tomorrow ahead of a possible strike by flight attendants on Saturday.
A walkout would ground all Air Canada and Air Canada Rouge flights. And CP24's Andrew Brennan is at Pearson Airport and joins us live with the latest in terms of what we know so far. Andrew.
Oh, what do we know? It's an impending, it seems, a strike and lockout simultaneously that should, if things go as they are right now, happen with what? Less than, we have 64 hours? No. 54 hours left at this point. We're almost approaching 48 if we're looking at by Saturday. So with that in mind, there's a lot of people that are going to be going places and then not sure maybe if they're coming back. We have a story about that in a second, but why we're here, that's another thing. We heard earlier from some people on the bargaining committee as part of the flight attendants union through CUPE. And this is what they're saying. They say ultimately that they're living on a poverty wage and they are essentially working almost a week per month for free.
To the passengers, this is not our goal. I don't feel that what we're asking for is unreasonable. I think discussions need to happen at the table. It's nobody wants to be in this position, but it truly is Air Canada who needs to come to the table, who needs to entertain, and who needs to bargain. You can't just walk away from the process and hope that the government will swoop in for this. So apologies to the general public, but we can't just also walk away and say, okay, everything's fine, because it's not. We have members that are in dire need, and we have things that need to be fixed with regards to our pay structure, and that's unfortunately where we're at.
So do you want to see what the potential impact could be? And also people that seemingly have a very good and positive outlook on how things are going thus far, because I see a lot of smiles. We have a group of Girl Guides, which I saw an Edmonton Oilers shirt. Are we local or are we coming in from elsewhere and then going elsewhere? Also, this is Tina, the only one whose name I know thus far. Hi, Tina.
We're from Kitchener and Waterloo.
Okay, so that's not the Oilers. We just have maybe an Oilers fan for a dad. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So we're going to Switzerland. Yeah. When are we leaving?
8:15 tonight.
And when are we supposed to come back?
On the 24th.
Are we feeling incredibly hopeful that things are going to be fine?
We're incredibly hopeful.
How are the rest of you feeling? Because as I was saying off camera before, we need to get more Gen Alpha and Gen Z being comfortable in social situations again. So this is being social on live TV, but we'll not even tell you how many people are watching. How are we feeling right now? Are we going to feel fine coming home? Or do we think we're going to be coming back on the 24th? Back in the back row.
I hope so.
You hope so?
I've flown before, and Air Canada is normally fine, but now you don't really know.
Well, yeah, there's a strike that may happen, and we also don't know if it could be resolved by then. So I like that Tina's remained hopeful this whole time.
Well, we've got 12 very excited girls who've been working for 18 months for this trip, so we're hopeful that everything will go smoothly.
Okay, I think we're all hopeful that everything goes smoothly now. Have a wonderful time in Switzerland. Thank you for running over here. Anyone else have anything to say? All right. Well, thank you again. We really appreciate it, and have a safe flight. Long story short, there's a lot of stories out there of people in a little bit of a limbo situation. They think and are very hopeful they're coming home on the 24th. And right now, we are still at a point where a strike is impending, but not necessarily guaranteed. There are talks supposed to happen on Friday. So Lena and Lindsay, we have to wait and see.
A lot could happen before then. We have to put that out there. But obviously, this is a really anxious time for any flyer, especially somebody who's using Air Canada. Thanks so much, Andrew, and we'll check back in. Andrew Brennan live at Terminal 1 inside Pearson Airport. Thanks so much, Andrew. Well, the Canadian Union of Postal Workers is set to resume talks with Canada Post as they try to come to terms on a new contract.
The union says it has agreed to meet with the Crown Corporation on Friday and Monday. Both sides met with federal mediators yesterday. The talks come after postal workers rejected the company's latest proposal. It would have increased wages, but also included restructuring that would have added more part-time employees. Negotiations have been ongoing for more than a year and a half now, and the union says a national overtime ban remains in effect.
Canada Post released a statement, and that reads in part, Canada Post is facing an existential crisis. Letter mail volumes continue to erode, and competition in the parcel line of business places ever increasing pressure on the corporation's operating model. While negotiations remain unresolved, there remains an urgent need to modernize Canada Post and protect this vital national service for Canadians.
The CEO of the TTC is apologizing after overnight work led to delays getting trains into service on Line 1 this morning.
Now, this right here was the scene outside Lawrence West Station as people waited for shuttle buses. Subway service was disrupted along a stretch of Line 1 for almost 2 hours. The problem was an overnight work zone near Eglinton Station that was late clearing. Subway service was back up and running just after 7:30, but residual delays continued.
A statement from TTC CEO Mandeep Lally reads in part, as CEO, I want to assure everyone that I am accountable, and I've asked our team to take immediate steps to mitigate such events in the future. It goes on to say, thank you for your understanding as we work to deliver the kind of reliable service you need and that you deserve.
All right, it's 5:06, 30 degrees out there, still pretty sticky. Probably a sticky drive as well. Let's get a check on that with Adjoa and CIA.
Psychic Lena strikes again. If you're making your way out on the major routes, Lena's right. It's sticky. It's a sticky drive. And if you don't have AC, well, you're not really moving anywhere, so you're not even getting that hot breeze. But if you're making your way out, what you are running into, if you're on the QEW, at least Niagara bound, on the approach to Third Line, it's a stalled vehicle. Now, it's off to the side, but right lane and shoulder is blocked. So that drive into Oakville, really, really busy, already backed up from pretty much well before Dorval. And then traveling towards the 401 on the eastbound lanes of the 401, just as you make your way through Mississauga Road, past Mississauga Road in the collectors, you will find that left lane and shoulder blocked following this ongoing stall. Finally, long-standing problems on the 401 westbound, which were happening in the collector lanes just through Warden, was the two right lanes blocked at this long-standing collision. And outside of camera view, we saw that big problem. Collision has shut down all lanes of the southbound of 404 up at Stouffville, actually up at Woodbine. All lanes shut down. This is following a serious collision investigation. Detours in place to get you by. And 407 eastbound on the approach to the 427 multi-vehicle collision as the three right lanes blocked. I'll send it back to you.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
A court appearance today for an 18-year-old charged in a deadly crash in Whitchurch, Stouffville earlier this month. That same man was also charged earlier this year in a crash with a car carrying Ontario's premier.
Yeah, let's take you to the Oshawa courthouse now. Our crime analyst, Steve Ryan, is outside with the very latest. What happened in court today, Steve?
Well, a decision has been put over by the courts, Lena, until Friday. At that point in time, the court will make a decision as a result of the evidence that was heard today at this bail hearing. So obviously, the bone of contention will be whether or not this 18-year-old will be detained by the court or released on conditions. If this was just a matter of this 18-year-old being released on conditions that he not occupy the front seat of a vehicle, let's say, for instance, the court wouldn't have put that over for 2 days, keeping him in custody while they made that decision. So Friday's decision, we will learn, I believe, whether or not this 18-year-old will be detained or not. Now, this comes as a result of some very serious allegations on August the 3rd. Police allege that this 18-year-old was driving a vehicle dangerous to the public. He's been charged with 1 count of dangerous driving caused death and multiple counts of dangerous driving caused bodily harm. A man died as a result of this collision. His wife and 3 children are in hospital being looked at for their injuries. He's also charged with failing to stop under the criminal code and public mischief. Public mischief is typically charged when somebody lies to the police and causes the police to enter into an investigation based on your lie. So these are all the criminal charges that this 18-year-old is facing. As we mentioned earlier on, he is also accused of dangerous driving involving collision with one of the Premier's government vehicles back in January. So you can see that there are multiple allegations here when it comes to concerns for the protection of the public. And this is why most likely the Crown is seeking a detention order. All of these are just allegations, not proven in court. But these are very serious allegations, ones that the Crown takes seriously, the court takes seriously as well. And this is why now they've had this bail hearing, and we will learn within the next 48 hours, I believe, whether or not this 18-year-old will be released on very strict conditions or kept in custody. I'll send it back to you guys.
Wow.
All right.
Okay. CP24's Steve Ryan reporting live for us. Steve, thanks so much for that. Well, police have released images of a suspect wanted in an East End assault. Yeah, 31-year-old Siobhan Chamberlain is described as 5'10". He was last seen wearing black shorts. Police say 2 people suffered minor injuries when they were assaulted in an apartment near Dawes Road and Victoria Park last night. Chamberlain is wanted for 2 counts of assault by choking, uttering threats, mischief, and breach of probation. A Halton police officer was injured while responding to a break-and-enter in Milton. It happened early this morning. Yeah, officers were called to a Shoppers Drug Mart on Main Street just before 3 a.m. Police say one suspect was arrested at the scene and a second attempted to get away in a vehicle before being arrested a short distance away. The officer's injuries are non-life-threatening. A suspect was also hurt but is also expected to be okay. Charges are now pending and police are looking for a third person who got away. 5:11, 29 degrees. You're watching Live at 5 on Toronto's Breaking News, CP24. The provincial government is launching a $1 billion financing program for businesses most impacted by U.S. tariffs. We'll take a closer look at that after the break. Welcome back. The Ford government has announced a $1 billion program to provide emergency loans to businesses in sectors hardest hit by Donald Trump's tariffs. The province says the Protect Ontario financing program will help support the steel, aluminum, and auto sectors. It's designed to help companies with capital challenges, including payroll, lease, and utility payments. And the finance minister joined us live this afternoon with more on the package.
First off, we provided relief early. This isn't our first measure. We did $11 billion of tax deferrals and WSIB rebates so that businesses could keep producing their products, keep workers employed. This is in addition to, because, you know, with the tariffs there, they keep changing. We want to provide as much certainty in a time of uncertainty for businesses so they can keep workers employed. They can keep shipping to customers. So we've announced today another $1 billion to help those businesses out.
An NDP finance critic, Jessica Bell, says the loan program falls short of the kind of support that's actually needed.
Support for the economy is very important right now. Ontario's economy is taking a big hit because of Trump's aggressive trade war with Canada. But we need to put this in context. We have 700,000 people who are currently unemployed in Ontario, and a $1 billion emergency loan fund to some businesses is not going to be enough to stabilize the economy.
And Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association President Flavio Volpe is among those who are welcoming the provincial program.
I think it comes at the right time. These are loans up to 6 years to pay back. These are some of the lessons that we learned during the pandemic that were important for businesses to keep them whole, help them with the overhead. These are payroll programs. These are rent programs. None of this money is for investment in new capital on new accounts and risk money. This is really to keep people employed and keep anxiety down while we work on the main problem, which is the tariff negotiation with the U.S.
And the Premier sort of teased this announcement yesterday when he talked about support. The program that was officially announced today, it's the first phase or a larger $5 billion support program, which we should mention was already announced in the provincial budget earlier this year.
Now to federal politics, where new public opinion numbers are in after Prime Minister Mark Carney's first 150 days in office.
A poll by Liaison Strategies finds the Liberals hold a strong 9-point national lead over the Conservative Party, while Carney himself has a 64% approval rating. In Ontario, the Liberals lead the Conservatives by 11 points. 68% of respondents say they see Carney as a strong leader, while 70% agreeing they find him likable. And David Valentin of Liaison says when it comes to specific issues, Carney's approval ratings, they're a little bit lower.
he's got a 64% approval rating. But when you ask Canadians about the specific issues, the ratings go down almost right away. And some of the numbers are still very positive. His highest marks, 56% approve of how he's handling Canada-U.S. relations, for instance. Those are pretty high numbers on the environment. Also immigration, which is interesting. That was a bit of an election issue as well, where the Conservatives had an advantage. But some of his early moves there seem to be paying off.
Based on the regional breakdown, the Liberals would be on track for a majority if an election were held today.
Well, the president of the Association of Chiefs of Police says Canada's laws are inadequate to fight cross-border crime.
Thomas Carrick, who is also the OPP commissioner, says the outdated laws were never designed to take on the current criminal landscape that no longer respects international borders. He says geopolitical instability and social unrest around the world are driving a new wave of public safety threats. Carrick is calling for several loopholes in the Strong Borders Act to be closed to help address the situation.
It's now 5:17, 29 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Coming up, Canadians with family in Gaza are calling for urgent action from the federal government to rescue their loved ones. We'll hear from them coming up after this. Welcome back. A news conference was held at Queen's Park today where Canadians with family living in Gaza called out the federal government's program, which is designed to help get their loved ones out. They say the Gaza Special Measures Program is broken and they want evacuations to Canada to begin immediately.
When it finally arrived in December 2023, the so-called Gaza Special Immigration Measures Program was already broken. Since then, there has been no action, no plan, and no real implementation. Immigration Canada keeps putting sticks in the wheels, creating problems instead of finding solutions, because there is no political will in the highest level to make this program work.
I applied immediately for my family in January 2024, hoping to bring them to safety as quickly as possible. I waited 6 months for the code. When I finally received it on June 5, 2024, I immediately started their visa applications. Since that day, there has been complete silence, no updates, no progress. Every day since my family has been trapped in Gaza, enduring constant bombing, starvation, and displacement.
Since IRCC initiated the Gazan TRV program, human rights groups like Amnesty International have condemned it, calling it, quote, a heartbreaking failure, given the onerous requirements it places on applicants in a war zone. Over the past decade, I've helped clients navigate many different types of immigration applications. The racism of the Special Measures Program is stark.
And Canada began offering temporary resident visas to members of Canadians' families trapped in Gaza in January of 2024. It closed in March after the program's cap of 5,000 visa applications had been accepted for processing. Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada says more than 1,700 people who exited Gaza have passed security screenings and they have been approved to come to Canada. As of July 8th, and 864 have already arrived in the country.
A statement from the IRCC reads in part, there are many complex factors to processing applications for those in the region, including the ongoing challenges for those seeking to exit Gaza. While we continue to advocate for the safe exit of applicants, IRCC does not have the mandate or ability to evacuate foreign nationals from conflict zones. Ultimately, as part of the process of applying to this program and before an application can be finalized, people need to be able to exit Gaza to complete their biometrics, which continues to be the biggest challenge.
Well, the team behind Barry Averich's documentary, The Road Between Us, The Ultimate Rescue, is accusing TIFF of censoring its own programming after the movie was pulled from this year's lineup.
The documentary follows a retired Israeli general on a mission to rescue his family during the Hamas attacks on October 7th of 2023. The filmmakers say they are shocked and saddened by the decision to remove it from the festival. A spokesperson for Averich says films should encourage debate from every perspective and the festival should let the audience decide what they will or won't watch. TIFF says it came down to a rights issue.
Yes, TIFF has released a statement. We'll throw that up for you. That reads, the film was withdrawn by TIFF because general requirements for inclusion in the festival and conditions that were requested when the film was initially invited were not met, including legal clearance of all footage. The purpose of the requested conditions was to protect TIFF from legal implications and to allow TIFF to manage and mitigate anticipated and known risks around the screening of a film about highly sensitive subject matter, including potential threat of significant disruption.
We're also getting a statement tonight from Friends of Simon Wiesenthal Centre, which reads in part, Friends of Simon Wiesenthal Centre is deeply disturbed by the Toronto International Film Festival this week removing a Canadian documentary on a heroic rescue mission during the October 7th Hamas atrocities in Israel from its screening lineup and is urging the festival to reverse its decision.
It's now 5:24, 29 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Coming up, a strange light in the sky has captured the attention of stargazers all over. We'll tell you what's behind it after the break. Welcome back. Stargazers in southern Ontario spotted something unusual in the sky last night.
Yeah, take a look at this. A strange bow tie-shaped light has since fueled dozens of online posts and online speculation of what could have caused this phenomenon. Well, York University astronomy and astrophysics professor Jesse Rogerson says there's a simple explanation here. It's part of a rocket that launched from Europe's spaceport in French Guiana in South America last night. Here's more.
As you spent your fuel, you get rid of part of the rocket to make your rocket lighter and easier to push farther into space. And when it's falling back to Earth over the Atlantic Ocean, it's still slightly burning. And so you see that plume from the fuel, from the exhaust that's coming as it's sort of fizzling out and falling back to Earth. And it looks wild when you look at it.
And Rogerson says the reason why we were able to all see it was because of just how bright it was.
Okay, unusual indeed.
For sure.
Well, Venus Williams is returning to the U.S. Open after a 2-year absence.
Started up 7. The previous round was excellent too. So the foundation.
The 45-year-old received a wild card invitation today to compete in the singles tournament, so she will be the oldest player in the U.S. Open since Renee Richards, who played in 1981 at the age of 47. Williams had already been given the wild card entry into the mixed doubles competition. Over her decades-long career, she has won 7 major singles championships, including the U.S. Open twice, as well as 14 doubles, 2 mixed doubles titles.
Oh, it's going to be so great to see her back on the court. I'm sure so many fans are looking forward to that.
For sure.
5:28, 29 degrees. You're watching Live at 5.
Air Canada says it will begin a gradual suspension of flights as it faces a potential work stoppage by its flight attendants this weekend. We are live at Pearson Airport speaking with passengers coming up right after this. Travelers brace for uncertainty. Air Canada says it will begin canceling flights tomorrow as the union representing tens of thousands of flight attendants issues a strike notice. This is a live shot at people who are traveling at Pearson Airport tonight. We've got details coming up.
Looks busy. And a court appearance today for an 18-year-old charged in a deadly crash in Whitchurch, Stouffville earlier this month. That same driver was also charged earlier back in January in a crash with a car carrying Doug Ford.
And the Ford government has unveiled $1 billion in Trump tariff relief meant to protect workers in the steel, aluminum, and auto industries. We've got our conversation with the finance minister coming up.
And sushi corn dogs, deep-fried watermelon, and lobster ice cream. The C&E is back for another year, and so is all the outrageous food. We're taking you to the X.
This is Live at 5.
Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us. I'm Lena Latifat.
And I'm Lindsay Biscaya. Welcome to Live at 5. Well, a court appearance today for an 18-year-old charged in a deadly crash in Whitchurch, Stouffville earlier this month. That same man was also charged earlier this year in a crash with a car carrying Ontario's premier.
Let's take you to the Oshawa courthouse now. Our crime analyst, Steve Ryan, is standing by with the very latest. Steve.
Yeah, Lena, the bail hearing was held today for the 18-year-old, and the decision by the court has been delayed until Friday. At that point, we'll hear what the court's ruling will be. Now, given the fact that this 18-year-old is accused, not convicted, just accused of dangerous driving offense back in January involving one of the premier's government vehicles, and given the fact that he is now charged with 4 other counts of dangerous driving, including dangerous driving causing death, as a result of this collision on August the 3rd up in Whitchurch, Stouffville, and multiple counts of dangerous driving caused bodily harm. He's also facing a very serious allegation of failing to stop the scene of an accident, which of course you're required to do if there is injury. The criminal code requires that you stop and render assistance. And he's been charged with public mischief. That offense is committed when you lie to the police and cause them to enter into an investigation. So these are very serious allegations, and the first step in this process will be this bail hearing, and we'll learn on Friday whether or not this 18-year-old will be detained in custody or released on very strict conditions.
Pretty unusual circumstances. What do you make of this, Steve, the fact that he's been accused in both situations, but also is he likely to get bail out of this? What do you think?
Yes, I would say yes, he's likely to get bail, and that's just because of the history of what we have been seeing throughout the province with regards to people being held in custody or most often released. So the Crown will argue for the protection of the public, given the fact that he was charged with a very serious driving offense in January. Nobody was injured, thankfully. And now, just months later, he's accused of another dangerous driving criminal offense, this one as a result of death and bodily harm. So the allegations are very serious. The Crown will be seeking a detention order to protect the public. But of course, the defense will argue that he should be released on strict conditions. One of those I can guarantee you, which will be not to be in the front seat of any vehicle until such time that these charges are dealt with. But I would most likely suspect that he will be released with very serious conditions, strict conditions.
All right, Steve Ryan, keeping a really close eye on this upcoming bail hearing from Oshawa tonight. Steve, thanks so much for your reporting. We appreciate it.
Well, police are trying to identify a suspect in a sexual assault case on the TTC in Etobicoke.
Police say a person recently came forward claiming they were sexually assaulted on a bus on the night of August 3rd. The suspect was last seen getting off the bus near Islington and Fenley Drive. That's just south of Dixon Road. Police say he had a bike with him at the time. Anybody who recognizes the man in this photo is asked to get in touch with investigators.
No injuries were reported after a taxi collided with an Eglinton Crosstown LRT train during testing in Scarborough today.
Chopper 24 over that scene as a taxi drove away from the scene at Eglinton Avenue and Swift Drive. That's east of the DVP. Police say the crash happened just after 4 p.m. The cause not yet known. It happened about 2 kilometers west, where a pedestrian was struck by an LRT on Saturday.
Okay, it's 5:35 now. Let's get a check on the commute this evening with our traffic specialist, Adjua. How's it going out there, Adj?
We have a couple of problems that are happening, Lindsay. Not surprising, but if you're making your way, I'm going to try to get you around. So if you're on the QEW, headed Niagara bound through Mississauga, you are running into a problem on the Niagara bound QEW. This is just as you make your way on the approach to Cawthra. Find that left lane blocked with this collision. What you can do, maybe use the Lakeshore or the service road to get you by, because you don't want to get caught in the backlog. It does extend from as far back as the 427. And then further west on the QEW, this is on the approach to the third line. Stop vehicle off to the side, but we have MTO crews blocking the right lane. Remains busy, very slow actually on the Gardner into and out of the downtown core. And big delays await you on the 401 across the top of the city. No problems anymore. That's the good news. Continues busy further east and seeing some rain now as you head in towards Durham. So just drive with a bit of extra care. Problems you can avoid if you're on the southbound 404 trying to get on to the 404 via Woodbine. At the top end, 8 is closed for an ongoing collision investigation. And eastbound on the 407 approaching the 427, ongoing collision of the 3 right lanes. I'll send it back to you.
Okay, thanks, Adjua. Air Canada is preparing to begin canceling some flights tomorrow ahead of a possible strike by flight attendants on Saturday. And a walkout would ground all Air Canada and Air Canada Rouge flights.
So much uncertainty for passengers. CP24's Andrew Brennan is inside Terminal 1 at Pearson Airport speaking with some of those anxious passengers. Are they starting to make alternative plans, Andrew? What are you hearing tonight?
I'm hearing possibilities of alternative plans. A lot of this is up in the air, Lena and Lindsay. I know you didn't ask the question, but you have to think about it this way, because if someone's coming home in a week and a half, and this is a strike action, which historically, let's not forget, a lot of airline flight stuff, they don't last that long. That's one thing to remember. And then two, the laws as is, most of the time, the airlines are telling you that they're going to put you on an either a partner airline flight, or whether it's not a partner, or they just have to buy you one. That's the law, by the way. But just because that's what they're hearing, that doesn't mean that's necessarily what they're feeling right now. We also have to take a step back very quickly and just also see how we got here. The biggest thing to remember is that we have airline flight attendants for Canada's flagship air carrier who say that they in their mind, they walked away from possible arbitration that was binding because they say that they're living with a poverty wage, $1,900 a month to start, and they say not enough to live monthly in Toronto. And then on top of that, they also say that when they're making this wage, that ultimately they're giving up 35 hours a month of free labor. It's untenable for them. The airline also says they want to have them be the best paid air flight attendants in the country. That being said, the impasse is still here. So for all the people have said, we're still dealing with an impending strike. Here's more from the CUPE bargaining committee.
Our entry-level flight attendants start out at a couple bucks over $1,900 a month before tax. So that barely pays rent, let alone food, travel costs, etc. It is dire. You don't have the opportunity to have that full-time second job. Some of our members have 2 or 3 jobs. That's because of the sporadic nature of a flight attendant. When you go away for 24 hours, you're not paid for 24 hours. So it's very hard to attain that. Our members have minimum monthly guarantees of 75 hours a month. So it's very challenging to kind of really understand how we're compensated, but yeah, that's what it is. So it's hard to get those second jobs or be home or have the stability.
Well, we did talk earlier about the impacts of what a potential strike could do. So I want to bring everyone's attention to Bassem, and also in the background we have Zainab as well. We want to talk to them both, but Zainab is being a photographer, and we want to congratulate you both for congratulations on your wedding and your honeymoon. You're on your way.
We are on our way to Barcelona as we speak, yeah.
And when are you coming back?
August 22nd.
And are we worried about what could be happening in between?
Very much so. I mean, I just got the news this morning that they're going on strike, and I understand. I've heard about it, so I can see why Air Canada workers want to go on strike. But it is very nerve-wracking. This isn't what we want to think about for our honeymoon, but it is what it is.
Yeah, this is an incredibly romantic atmosphere. It's like, oh, are we going to be able to come home? For what it's worth, that's actually a great thing for a honeymoon. Don't come back.
I agree. It's not a bad thing, huh?
But you still, I'm guessing, have to come back. And what has the airline told you about what could happen in a week and a half's time?
It's a good question. I actually called the airline. The wait time was over 4 hours, so I made them call me back. It was a very brief conversation. The individual, Miguel, told me that they would have me on another flight with a different airline. They were very broad about how we would get back, or if we would get back. I asked about a refund, if that was a possibility. It wasn't, according to them, because we just missed the gap for refund flights. But overall, that's all they told me. So we're kind of going back, not sure how we're going to come back, but God willing, we will.
Well, I just want to wish you both the most fun that you can have with this. I don't know if is it an anxiety, whatever the word is. Are you still think you're going to try to have fun?
Well, we'll do our best. I mean, I think as the days go on, the closer we get to August 22nd, we'll start shaking a little bit, but I think we're going to have a good time as well.
My understanding is that was how you're supposed to feel and look before your wedding, not on your honeymoon.
That's very true. That's very true. And now it's going before the wedding and after.
Well, just as we wrap up, Zainab, I know you don't want to answer any questions. Can we at least congratulate you both on camera? That would be awesome. Okay, Zainab and Bassem, congratulations to you both. And
Thank you.
We're not worried about life after this, are we?
God willing, no. No, we're not. No, we're not.
Well, congratulations to you both. Thank you very much. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you,
and
sir.
Okay, a little bit of moments of levity as we talk about something potentially serious, because Bassem and Zainab do not know if they're going to be coming back. Have a great day. Safe flight, the both of you. They don't know if they're necessarily coming back on the 22nd on an Air Canada flight. They're hopeful, but that does remain to be seen. It's up in the air, as it were.
Very true. The bad news here is that there could be a strike. The good news is they're heading to Barcelona, Andrew. That's not bad at all.
Yeah. Okay, hopefully the two sides can maybe come to some kind of an agreement before Saturday, but obviously, as Andrew mentioned, not looking likely right now. It's 5:42, 30 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Well, the survival rate for lung cancer has more than doubled since the 1990s, but it remains the deadliest form of this disease in our country. We're going to take a look at the latest research coming up next. Turning to the wildfire situation north of our region, wildfires continue to burn, some of them out of control in Kawartha Lakes.
There are now 2 active fires in that region. The one that started on Monday in the Kirkfield area has grown to more than 33 hectares in size. The other fire, which started on Friday, is the Burnt River area, which has burned 27 hectares of forest. There are no evacuation orders in place, but officials are asking people not to visit the area unless it is absolutely necessary. The mayor of the city of Kawartha Lakes says the Burnt River fire has been particularly tough to battle.
That is proving to be a difficult fire as they have flare-ups from time to time. And as I said, they didn't have an appreciable amount of rain, so it didn't do a whole lot to quell the situation. I believe currently MNR have 26 staff on site. We have a total of 63.
And more cities in the GTHA are putting measures in place to clamp down on outdoor fires. Officials in Hamilton and Burlington say a burn ban is still in place because of dry conditions and air quality warnings due to smoke from wildfires in other parts of the country. Fire bans are also in place in other parts of our regions, including Halton, as well as York and Durham.
New figures show the survival rate for lung cancer has more than doubled since the 90s, but it still remains the deadliest form of the disease in the country.
Statistics Canada says the number of people living 5 years after they were diagnosed climbed from 13% to 27% between 1992 and 2021. The agency says new treatments, including immunotherapy, have contributed to that increase. However, lung cancer is still responsible for almost a quarter of all cancer deaths in this country. That's more than any other type.
It is 5:46 now, 30 degrees. This is Live at 5.
The provincial government is launching a $1 billion financing program for businesses most impacted by American tariffs. We're going to take a closer look at this next. Welcome back. The Ford government has launched a $1 billion emergency loan program for businesses hardest hit by Donald Trump's tariffs.
CP24's Phil Perkins joins us live with more on the Protect Ontario financing program. Phil, what's this all about?
Yes, we already know. To make a vehicle, for example, it goes back and forth from the U.S. to Canada at least a dozen times. And so with these tariffs, it makes everything more expensive. And that's why the provincial government has forwarded this $1 billion basically bailout plan to those aluminum, steel, and automotive companies due to this ongoing tariff war. We heard earlier today from Vic Fedeli, who is the Minister of Economic and Business and Jobs. Here's what he had to say.
While we can't control the unrelenting determination with which President Trump is pursuing these tariffs, our government can and will continue to stand firm in our unyielding commitment to our workers and our economy. The launch of this $1 billion Protect Ontario financing program builds on the ongoing efforts undertaken this year to support the sectors most heavily impacted.
And to just start this month off, the White House increased tariffs of 35% to items not involved in CUSMA or the USMCA. And so that is definitely taking a toll on those companies. Now, Premier Ford said yesterday that he plans on having a meeting with Prime Minister Mark Carney next week. And Premier Ford kind of went on to say there's a couple things that he would like to see changed, not mentioned in this announcement here. He talks about how Canadians are taxed heavily. He wants to see the HST removed again. Remember, we had that HST cut holiday towards the tail end of the Justin Trudeau government. He would like to see that, and maybe that could be something discussed with the Prime Minister. Mark Carney saying as well that, you know, they're going to do everything they can to protect businesses and business owners. So again, we're still just following the bouncing ball when it comes to this tariff battle between Canada and the U.S. and, you know, see who blinks next. Back to you guys.
All right, CP24's Phil Perkins reporting live. Thanks, Phil. It's 5:51 right now, 29 degrees. This is Live at 5.
The CNE kicks off this Friday, and we are getting a sneak peek. That's coming up next with CTV Toronto's Jessica Smith. Don't go anywhere.
The 146th annual CNE is back in just 2 days, and today we're getting a preview of what you can expect this year.
And for more on this, we're joined live now by Jessica Smith from the X Grounds. You know we're going to ask you what you've had to eat, right, Jess?
What didn't I eat? To be honest, there were pickles in a bag that were different colors. I had spicy cotton candy. I had, like, cookies dipped in something else. To be honest, the food always is an attraction here at the CNE, but the theme this year really with the food is butter. So if you like butter, it's in almost everything. Dirty sodas were also really popular. When it comes to the CNE, it's no surprise. It's kind of ingrained in the DNA of this city. And for anybody in the GTA, you know, you've probably been to this fair, whether you come for the gondola ride, the Ferris wheel, the carnival games, the super dogs that are going to be here once again. But different this year, they've added a couple different things in. They've got a bit of an immersive show taking place this year, and it's really, really cool. It's called Mythos. It's very interactive, talking about the Canadian diaspora and all the different cultures that make up this beautiful country and this beautiful city. And it's really meant to be walked in, walked on, touch the floor. You can kind of touch on what's going to be an imaginary fire. They've got imaginary koi fish all kind of projected onto the walls. And it really brings an educational side to the CNE. I know we're all here to have fun and eat the fun and freaky food, but there's a really cool immersive experience inside. Plus, they've also added a drag brunch happening this weekend on Sunday. And listen, they've got some of the best and biggest stars from Canada's Drag Race that are going to be participating in that, and the monies go back to a local charity. So it really is a win-win-win situation when it comes to food, supporting your community, and having fun. But speaking to the CNE, Mark Holland this year, really and truly, it's one of those things where everybody has a CNE story. He mentioned the idea of people coming here on their first date, or they came here with their friends. Everyone's got a little bit of a connection here, whether it's, you know, something big or small. But the CNE really is one of those events in the city. Yes, it's synonymous with the summer ending, but it's also synonymous with what makes the city so great, bringing people together, having fun, and all the food. Let's take a look at what Mark Holland had to say.
This is edge of your seat culinary adventure here. There's things brought that you'd never imagine together. You know, like Craig's Cookies is doing a cookie that puts a chicken nugget in the cookie. It's delicious. So many different fun things, and you think there's no way these things can work, but you try them and they do. So it's a lot of fun to come and try out.
Now, the chicken nugget in the cookie, I know it sounds unique.
Would you try?
But speaking to the people who tried it, it honestly, yeah. So it kind of feels like chicken and waffles, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I said to Lindsay earlier, it's like some of the food is confusing, but good.
Yeah.
It's weird, but good.
I don't know if
like things
tried
that you look
that
at and you're like, this
one.
shouldn't make sense.
Yeah, Jess, I was watching you
put your
try
mind
that
to, and I
dirty
feel like you can do
soda
it.
with butter in it, and I had a lot of appreciation and admiration for you. But you know what? It's always just like really
We'll see how my tummy
interesting
feels
food.
later.
Yeah, really interesting food, but really creative. Okay, so this is the 146th year. Obviously, last year was a big year, being the 145th. But what else is, like you said, so many people make this a tradition. What's going on for the 146th year specifically that people can come down and see?
I really do think it's the interactive experience, Lindsay and Lena. It is so cool. The room is massive. So if you head inside, you know, one of the many different facilities here, you have such a cool opportunity to walk in and like you touch the floor and things move. Adding that educational aspect and the cultural aspect, I think, is the biggest and most important part. And then it's just kind of drag brunch. It really is really cool to see some of these iconic drag queens doing their thing here in the city. But I think what they're doing this year is really leaning into that Canadiana, that idea of appreciating the country that we're in and the cool foods that are local here, but also infusing different cultural aspects to it. But truly, you have to come down The dirty soda was interesting, but I feel like you would like it.
Okay, you know what? You have us sold. We're going to try it out. And I have to say, when it comes to the X, this is always like such a bittersweet moment, right? Because it's so much fun, the C&E, but it's also a sign that the summer is coming to an end. And I always, every single year, I'm like, I can't believe it's that time of year again. Like, I can't believe it. Goes by so quickly. All right, Jessica Smith joining us live from the X grounds. Thanks so much for joining us, Jess. Appreciate it.
It is true, though. The end of summer is always so bittersweet.
So bittersweet. I'm not ready. Even with all the speed, I'm not ready to say goodbye.
It's only the beginning of August. We're okay.
Yeah, we got some time.
It's 5:59, 29 degrees. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
Well, the country's largest airline will start canceling flights tomorrow. This as flight attendants issue a 72-hour strike notice. We'll leave you with this live look from Terminal 1 at Pearson. Stay with us for our ongoing coverage. Thank you for watching.